It's that time again. What was your first ever D&D character? Let us know in the comments below. Dwarven barbarian who loves feasts and drinks. Don't know what that says about me. I'll tell you what it says about you. You got fine taste. A drow ninja for a 3.5 one-shot in order to learn how to play. My first actual character with a backstory, and the one that got used more than once, was my human spirit shaman named Gibbous. After something like 7 years, he is still my only PC to ever reach above level 20, and for that, he became the inspiration for a reoccurring NPC in my campaigns. Advanced D&D 1st Edition circa 1981. Elf, which I believe was its own class back then, who was predominantly an archer as I recall, surely inspired by Legolas from Lord of the Rings, which I had just read a year or so earlier. It was a human fighter in 5th edition. I went to a game store that had regular games twice a week, wanting to try this D&D thing out. I had talked to the DM, and he said he'd come half an hour earlier to help me make a character. He actually came half an hour late, so everyone was itching to play the game they were paying for, and I was really rushed. After that, the game turned into an actual D&D horror story with edgy weirdos and horny teens who roleplayed going to the brothel. In depth. Never stepped in the game store again. Made a Dragonborn druid back in 2017. Played him enough to get to level 4, and then the group I was in never met up and played again. I do still have the original character sheet though, and he knew 5 languages too. He was a Dragonborn Eldritch Knight. I started with 5th edition. He had a poisonous green lineage because I read green dragons were the smartest of the chromatic dragons. Well, lore-wise anyway. Made him have muddy scales, but with a few shocks of blue through some of them. I was very disappointed by how little spell slinging I could actually do though. And the low rolls on my breath attacks, on top of creatures succeeding their saves, made me feel even worse. Now on top of all of that, I had a really bad DM who threatened to end the game multiple times just because we didn't post in his Discord server outside of game time. He thought that was unfair and that we should be memeing it up every day or something. The whole experience just put me off one of my favorite races and subclasses for years, which is a shame because now, with more experience, I realize that, well, low rolls happen. I was also expecting things from the subclass that it was never going to provide, and a shift in expectations would have allowed me to enjoy it to its fullest. Human Bard. I didn't know much about the game, so I chose a race that gave me a +1 in every stat and a class that was able to do most things without specializing too much. 3 campaigns later, I'm still playing a bard because I discovered I liked being a high charisma character, and I could explore different aspects of what being a bard meant. Started playing back in college using 3.5 materials I had for years. I had always enjoyed the portrayal of orcs in some of Salvatore's, at the time, latest books, and wanted to run a half-orc barbarian with a twist. I'd read through the FRCS a lot, and always found that the monstrous corsairs of the Nelanther Isles to be really cool. So I made my character the heir apparent to an orc chief, attempting to gather all the reavers and raiders of the Isles into a kingdom powerful enough to launch an assault on Luskan. And that's how I got around to Magrock of the Clan Corpsemaker, son of Grotha, captain of the good ship Gorefeaster, and rider of the Spear Winds. I love this already, Spears. Mwah. I love this game and how many building blocks it leaves around to play with. Halfling Rogue Thief back in the AD&D era. Chaotic neutral, of course. Played for such a long time that even I started to lose grip on what he would do. Nothing terrible or evil though, just, well, unpredictable. I remember a time when we were fighting blinking skeletons and my attacks kept coinciding exactly with the blink of a skeleton. So it was swing, blink, miss. Get hit by the finger phalanxes they shot. After the third time this happened, I said, he just gives up, sits down, and starts eating a snack in the middle of a fight. Whips out the goldfish. Yeah, I've had enough of this crap. I played a half-giant minotaur barbarian named Humorous, who was an absolute himbo, hyper-fixated on fishing and boating. I don't remember the specifics, but I once had him make a boat out of the surrounding forest. Had the rest of the party get in it, this was 3 people, and on a natural 20, I threw the boat and got in before it left my hand so we could get to our destination quickly. I had an anchor on a chain that I swung like a huge flail, too. Lightfoot Halfling, Circle of the Moon Druid. Been playing her for 2 years now. She's pretty cool. She also somehow ended up being the strongest of the group. I got lucky on the initial rolls. The group consists of an elf ranger, human rogue, and an air genasi wizard, and a wolf and a myconid, a little mushroom that we adopted. Aww. My DM got together for our first D&D game 3 months ago. My character is a dwarven fighter who acts as the tank for the warlock and ranger. High five. All his points are invested in strength, dex, and con, so the talking is left to them. At the start of the campaign, he got punched and sent flying through a window. My favorite moment so far is when he rolled a nat 20 on a strength game at a carnival, completely destroying it and sending the bell flying into the air like a frisbee. Another time, an immovable rod was put behind his neck, and he rammed through the guild wall trying to use all his strength to keep walking before it was switched off. That one is a close second. Faramir the Ranger, playing 1st edition AD&D. Just put whatever for your stats. Well, so I put all 18s. I think it was 3 sessions later that the DM finally realized that I may have taken him a little too literally. Also, no one else at the table had read Lord of the Rings. This was roughly 35 years ago. I remember it was Greyhawk. I remember the DM would always throw a group of huge toads at us when he needed a random encounter. And I remember one of the characters had a girdle of giant strength, and one of the others was jealous. So the DM just let us find a second girdle. If you know, baby. My first character was in 5th edition around 5 to 6 years ago. He was influenced by many anime characters. His name was Gol D. Ace. He is a sun paladin. I also remade him and played him in my first time ever in Pathfinder, and now he's an NPC champion of the sun in my homebrew. He is heavily influenced by Escanor and Sir Gawain from the Round Table. In Pathfinder, he got some influence from the sun halfway through the campaign, a +4 to strength and dexterity, or it might have been Constitution while the sun was out, but then a -4 during the night. Human Ranger, 2nd edition, back in the 90s. Died in the first room of a dungeon after opening a trapped bag of flour and dying from the poison. Anthrax! I think I was alive for 5 real minutes. My DM, a close friend, had me tear up my character sheet because that's the rules, according to his brother. I had spent hours building the character and had even drawn him. Okay, that brother was an ass. I hope you kept at least a couple of the pieces and taped it together. Cleric of a homebrew god called Ideoli, I believe I pronounced it correctly, back in 2007. She was a spider goddess who devoured the souls of the dead and spun them into new lives. Or so my cleric thought, until the party raided an old temple and realized the spinning new lives part was just propaganda to let an evil god have a temple in cities where there were more yummy souls to eat. Num num num. There was tension in the party after that, but we all had a mutual interest in the world not being bereft of souls. I played a half-orc shadow magic sorcerer named Thok in my dad's campaign. We played for about a year, and I lost my magic trying to remove a curse. Then I made a pact with a genie and became a warlock. Unfortunately, the campaign ended due to my dad losing interest in playing D&D in general. He was working a lot and didn't find time to play. Fortunately, I found a group on a Discord server where I could use my old character again, having fun playing him once more. The first one I played was a wood elf rogue. basic character build because I was new to the game, and my friend DM didn't want to confuse me. He still gets referenced in our present campaign, and my current character, who idolized him as a saint in a religion, killed him. I shocked the entire party as I uttered those words, and I shocked myself, to be honest, too. I was like 12, maybe? My brother and his friends put together a goofy dwarf who rode around on a camel. I played for like 15 minutes and then absolutely ADHD'd the heck out, having a hard time remembering anything between that and a human cavalier when I was closer to 26. Didn't end up playing that one for more than a couple of sessions because our primary foes were orc clans, and the DM's partner kept calling my character, and by extension me, a racist! It took me a while to properly find a good group. My first character was a pre-gen Aarakocra fighter, heavily armored, funnily enough. Created by Fast Character by our DM. I wasn't picky on race, only that I was recommended to try fighter for my first one-shot in 2022. A week later, I made my first true PC, a lizard folk barbarian gladiator background for a campaign, playing him as a glory seeker. Sadly, I never got closure nor much of a chance to play him as a PC, as that DM became super flaky, and the campaign ended too soon. I would love to play him again sometime, though. Kryn, the human rogue, in 3.0 in 2007. I was 14 when I made him, and Kryn is peak edgelord tough guy. Super one-dimensional. The characters I create these days are much more nuanced and interesting, but since he was my first character, I've mentally come back to him a lot. I do wonder what he's doing these days. I know he and the world he lives in are a work of fiction, so he can technically be doing whatever I like, but I don't know. A discredited researcher, a mulberry-skinned tiefling with a celestial conspiracy she is determined to prove. I made her a Horizon Walker Ranger, and I really played up her innate magical abilities. When we ran into an eldritch thing at level 3 right before we leveled to 4, I settled on the Shadow-touched feat, and from there, it clearly made sense to pick up Sorcerer, only level 1 though, to enhance those fire abilities and creepy talent just a tad more. And it was good I did, as I could not roll to hit to save my tush. If I wanted to do anything in combat, I had to use magic, despite trying at least 12 different sets of dice. But she was the rogue tracker role in the group, mostly. There were 2 barbarians, a sorcerer, and a paladin, and she really shined off the battlefield. I clearly had no idea what I was doing, and it was brilliant. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course let us know in the comments below, what was your first ever D&D character? And if you do want to keep the furnaces running, you're more than welcome to join our membership program. You don't have to, but it would be really, really good for us to do because, well, we can make you some more content, including behind the scenes stuff, but primarily early access to videos for right now. We love you all. We'll see you next time. Toodaloo for now.